Welcome, citizen, to another Starcraft Nation broadcast. I am your host, Vinorati, and in today's cast, we've had lots of casts today. Which one in particular? This one will be the final matchup in between GoOdy and Lalush for the Zotac Cup number 30 championship. So basically, whoever wins this matchup, this game right here, gets €100 and the title of being a badass. And right now, to kind of rehash what we've seen, we saw GoOdy try to do what Select did to Idra at MLG Dallas, and he basically attempted to contain Lalush, which is to contain a Zerg player is to basically cut their lifeline, forcing them either to tech or to drop or to Nidus or do something that really throws most Zerg players off their game, because that's really not what you're thinking about. That's not what you practice. You don't run into it too often, but we saw Lalush break the contain twice. The first time it was on Blistering Sands, and he just, of course, most of you know Blistering Sands has that destructible back rock. And Lalush was like, well, if I can't go out the front door, I'll go out the back door. And he broke those rocks, went around, and went pew-pew, and GoOdy sad face and left. Second time, though, we saw GoOdy try to do a contain on Steps of War. Now, Steps of War, I feel, is a much better map to attempt that on, but it was it wasn't a tight contain, and GoOdy was sitting there in his bunkers, and Lalush just kind of walked by and said, peace, and ended up winning that one as well. And then we saw Lalush actually falter and lose to GoOdy twice. The first time, GoOdy came in there with early Banshees, caught Lalush wrong-footed, and was able to best him there. And the second time, on Scrap Station, the one I just got done casting, we saw Lalush fall to a lot of mech. We saw our early Banshee harass once again from GoOdy, but Lalush was ready this time. He had Hydralisks, and the Hydralisks more than happy to dispatch those Banshees, but Lalush was under so much pressure that GoOdy was able to shift out of that tech and able to come through and pretty much wrap up Lalush as Lalush was doing drops, and GoOdy just went pshow right in the face, and Lalush sad face and quit. So what we got going on here on Shakur's Plateau, we do have the farthest spawn point, so this is going to lend them. This is going to kind of force the players into a macro mindset, not forcing them, but it's like, hey, I got room, I feel safe, I'm going to expand. So it's what you see a lot from players like this. But meanwhile, missing while I was flipping my lips, we see GoOdy here did a nice job of denying the early expansion from Lalush, as Lalush is now just expanding at 23. So, is any kind of disruption you can do to your opponent is good, as long as it doesn't cripple you. I say do it, because you don't want to leave them of their, just kind of do whatever the hell they want to do, because then they're going to come over there and crap all over you, and that's not a good feeling. I've been there. Definitely been there. Case in point, Liquid Jinro all over me. Or no, I'm sorry, Liquid Ret. Either way, Lalush coming out here with his Zergling, going to be acting like a little sentry, making sure that there's no goofiness coming out of GoOdy. Actually going to be coming up here on the ramp, checking out, seeing what's going on, see that it is indeed walled in. And what do we have coming over here for Lalush? Lalush expanding his creep highway. This is good. Start early, constantly do it. It's kind of a pain to get in the habit of constantly checking on your creep highway. When you get that creep on the front door, not only do you have awesome battlefield awareness, it's a psychological game as well, because the opponent feels like, oh, he's at my gates, and he's gonna hunch up, and that's a good feeling as a Zerg player to do that to an enemy. But GoOdy, meanwhile, is not going to be left behind in the macro game, and is going to be expanding here, flowing. He's flying his command center over, throwing down a bunker as well. At the same time, he will be manning it, and we will see the Harvester coming over here for the transfer right on time, like a baller. And we see a second factory coming down for GoOdy. So GoOdy looking to do some mech action once again. Now, how much mech action, I'm not really sure, because we only have Hellions coming out at this time. But we could see tanks once again, as Lalush really was put under the whip last time by GoOdy's tank. So GoOdy probably going to be going with some more of the same, because like I said a couple of matches ago, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So let's see what GoOdy is going to. Actually, no. Let's see what Lalush is up to. Lalush, of course, coming over here, constantly vomiting those eggs on that lair like a baller, because that's what I do in my spare time as well, if I had a hatchery. Meanwhile, we do see another queen coming up here, so not sure if we're going to see a second expansion, or if Lalush is kind of feeling some banshees. You know, if he's kind of smelling the banshee in the air, because, well, I wouldn't blame him, seeing as we've seen that twice now from GoOdy, and Lalush being the adaptive player that he is, would be reacting to that. And we do actually see a Spire coming online for Lalush, so Lalush is going to be going through the air as well. Last game, we really didn't see Lalush do any air. He went, actually, Overlord dropped, which is awesome, because you don't see it that often. But the real killer, though, of last game is Lalush loaded up all of his units off of the island base that he had just destroyed, and was caught by like 6 Vikings. And we saw 4 fully packed Overlords, at least 4, go down. And so Lalush lost a huge chunk of his army there, and that is definitely not a position you want to find yourself in. So Lalush right now just cranking things out. We'll be finishing up the Spire here relatively soon. Let's take a look at the income tab. So Lalush slightly ahead, just a little bit, 5, but right now we could be seeing, let's see, no, he doesn't actually have enough minerals for that, so never mind on that one. Take a look at the army size. Army size is equal. You know, that 10 difference right there really isn't, actually it's not even 10 difference, it's a 7 difference, really isn't that big of a deal. But if we look at the real money that's spent here, that difference is actually the fact that Lalush just have a few more harvesters mixed up in there. And yeah, as you can see right here, up there at the units tab, we have 2 tanks, 9 marines, and 1 Hellion versus 2 roaches and 1 circling. So yeah, Lalush definitely leaning back on the macro a little bit more than we see GoOdy. But GoOdy, of course, gearing up. Looks like we're going to see a little bit of mid game. But while I was looking at that, we actually saw a flock of Mutalisks coming out, and they are free to roam around and cause terror like they should be doing. We do actually see 2 Thors on the way for GoOdy, and the vehicle weapons level 1 coming up there. So going to be making these javelin missiles that much stronger, as they do 12 damage to light units, and Mutalisks are light units. So prepare to suffer is all I have to say to those Mutalisks right there. We do actually have the Mutalisks coming in here to the middle line, taking a couple of pot shots out there. And we do see a couple of javelin missiles impacting there. But nice job sticking in here as long as possible. You don't want to take a volley of javelin missiles. That's exactly what that one Mutalisk just did right there. So the Mutalisks sitting here trying to take the free kills any time point as you can. At any point in time you want to take those free kills. That's the power of the Mutalisks, is able to attack without actually being attacked yourself. Making your opponent react to you, that's where you want to be. As Hitler and many other great well, okay, Hitler wasn't a great tactician. He was actually terrible. But as many people said, the best defense is a great offense. I know I butchered that, but either way, it still holds true even in Starcraft 2, because why defend when you can go over here and go pew-pew all over your enemy? And that's exactly what we see right there. Those Mutalisks engaging that missile turret, which is not always the best idea, especially when you have this few Mutalisks. You really want to hit that critical mass point where you get just that flock of Doom Mutalisks where they come over there and it blots out all the light on the ground, and all you see is crazy bat wings everywhere. That's when you go up against turrets, because turrets are cheap as hell.